back to episode number 17, Andrew. And it's not the last one because we're coming back next week for an 18th, a bonus episode of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. How excited are you, Andrew Blair-White? Are you asleep in this weather?
Just about. It's class. Only 8 days to go now. Ollie McKiernan's just won the bumper at Leopardstown. Oh, geez, life is grand. But no, if you're not getting pumped up right now, I don't know what's gonna do it for you. Really, I'm quite glad we've added in a bonus episode so I can get another selection in next week, hopefully. But the support on these videos has been brilliant throughout the year. Like, we started it in early November time, I think it was, and it's grown great. And I see an awful lot of regulars in the comments who are bolstering up their Ante-Post portfolios coming up to Cheltenham next week. So fingers crossed we land a couple of winners between us all, and we can crown the Ante-Post King, as you always said at the start of November. That's what we were seeking to do. So it'll be interesting to see between myself and yourself who comes out on top.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a lot more confident now, Andrew Blair-White, than I was a couple of weeks ago. And just speaking about the viewers and everyone that's getting involved in the comments, it's been great. I don't think we could have imagined, in fairness, how good the series has taken off. I think last week we recorded our highest views on the video. And I suppose that's natural, isn't it? As we get closer to Cheltenham, there's a lot more demand for Cheltenham content. But everyone, a big thank you to everyone that's been with us on every step of the way this season. And I'd say we're odds on to go back at the series again next year. I've really enjoyed it, and I think it's in the melting pot. I don't think you're a runaway winner as people were maybe suggesting when we put up the graphic. We will be coming on to speak about our selections. We're going to start, Andrew, this week with if you were to have a treble at this stage, not necessarily in your portfolio, or you mightn't have picked any of the three horses to date in the competition, but if you were to have a treble now at this point, because there might be some new viewers who are, mightn't have an awful lot of bets. They might be looking to get maybe a rock solid, maybe a multiple over the course of the week, just for interest. What would be the three that you would select at this point in time? And I have to ask you, why?
Yeah, hard to know just in terms of prices, really. Depends what people are looking for. Like, there are people, obviously, that love to row in on some of the short prices. I think actually as the short prices go, I'd have Appreciated as one of them. I think he's one of the better value favourites actually of the week, especially if you were managing to get 2-1 or 9-4 maybe on the day. I'd have Chacun Pour Soi in there, just for the simple reason that people want to take on Chacun Pour Soi, which I can't quite comprehend. You can still get even money about him, and I feel he should be, if the race was being run at Leopardstown, he'd be 4-6. So I think he's not a bad value. I'm trying here not to pick the blatant obvious ones of the likes of Monkfish and MYLN and stuff like that, because they will be long odds on. And I would throw in, I suppose you've got to try get something to get the odds going, and I'd throw in Time Hill into the mix in the Stairs Hurdle to boost that up a little bit. You've always got to have something to try and boost the odds of an accumulator like that. I still think he's got the winning at the Stairs Hurdle in him. I think he's got Paisley. He could beat Paisley Park, and if those three go in, you get a nice enough little touch of in and around 11-12-1. I'd say if I've given out one each way double for the week that I am quite keen on, being Run Wild Fred in the Kim Muir and Kashari in the Coral Cup. Now those are two horses I've backed. I think in the handicaps that mightn't be the worst little double you could go in on.
Yeah, speaking of trebles and multiples, it's not something we usually discuss, Andrew, on this show throughout the year. But I said we'd throw it in. It's a nice little touch this week as we get a little bit closer and we know what way the races are shaping up and etc. Share a little story. I suppose I don't usually do multiples. Even I never, very rarely would I do multiples, even at Cheltenham. And I think it was 3 seasons ago. When did Vroom Vroom Mag win at Cheltenham? It was the season where Duvan, actually, your favourite horse, Andrew Blair-White, I think he won the Arkle and I had Vroom Vroom Mag.
2016, I think.
2016, so it's quite a while ago. As I said, I don't usually do multiples. They're not my sort of thing, but I did have quite a large treble that year with Duvan in the Arkle. And I think the treble in total paid 3-1. So it was a lot. Had a nice treble on Duvan in the Arkle. Vroom Vroom Mag in the Mares, and she went in, of course. That was the same day. And Thistle Crack. And what a way to sign off in the Sayers Hurdle. Talk about rolling around in the money. Thistle Cracky, I think it was Alpha de Zobo, couldn't get near him that day, and Thistle Crack ran away. It was probably the most impressive winner of a Sayers hurdle I can ever remember. That was probably my best memory of a treble or multiple at the Cheltenham Festival. Really set up my week, and of course my banker at a price at the whole festival was Black Hercules. It was a fantastic Cheltenham Festival, and we threw in one for bonus. I think Don Cossack won the Gold Cup on the same year, so that was probably one of my best Cheltenhams ever. Definitely that was probably the best memory in terms of a multiple. But for this year, two of them have already picked them, and they're rock solid in the team, and they're both going in there. A lot of my Cheltenham, a lot of it weighs on Energy, as everyone knows. But Concertista, she's like the US election swing state for me. She has to go in the Mayor's Hurdle, and I'm sticking her in. You can still get a little bit more than even money on her. I think she has to be on there. She was on our Ante-Post or on our season preview on the podcast. She was in the Yankee at 11-1, Andrew Blair-White. So she's come all the way down in price, and I really am confident that she'll go and win. I think Monkfish has to go in the team again, slightly odds on, but between the two of them, you're getting evens on the two of those selections, no matter what way you look at it. And it's very simple. Andrew Blair-White, it's Willie Mullins, a straightforward thing. Chacun Pour Soi. I think that treble will deliver. And if you want a bonus ball, throw in Energy in the Arkle. But I think Willie's well set up this season, in fairness. I think of all we say that nearly every year, but I think this year in particular, it's looking good for the Irish. It's looking good for Willie. And I do think that probably the treble, as I said, Monkfish in the RSA, or what's now the Brown Advisory, will go Concertista and Chacun Pour Soi. Yeah, now we're going to come on and preview the Gold Cup. As I said, for the last couple of weeks, we've been taking a big race, and we're going to look in depth at the Gold Cup. Now, Andrew, before you go off on one with Album Photo and 3 Gold Cups in a row, and I know you have them in the team sheet, let's just look, I suppose, at the shape of the race. How we see, maybe give me a pace angle in the race. How do you see it being run? And is there anything as well that you would have your eye on, maybe as a danger at a huge price? Because we know last year Mr. Roland Groom nearly fell off the seat when Real Steel turned in, and it looked for a straight. Is there anything maybe at a huge price that might enter the frame in this Gold Cup for people who are looking for one at a huge price in the Gold Cup?
I think Frodon and Native River look the most likely to be making the running. I don't think Frodon will get a freebie. He's run against Native River twice, and Native River's twice taken it off him, and Frodon's kind of sacked it in as a result. So I think Native River will end up being in front after 3 or 4 fences. They'll go an honest clip as a result, which I think will suit some of the main protagonists in this. And look, Album Photo's got as good a chance as he has had the past 2 years, I believe. I don't think this race is that much better than what he's previously faced. He does have a few obstacles to overcome. He obviously, horses don't win 3 Gold Cups, or very few of them do. And there's no point getting away from that stat. It's a stat for a reason. It's very hard to go and do so. And also, he's never been one of the most nimble jumpers in the world, as you always feel there is a potential, fall in him. He obviously fell in the RSA a couple of years back with Ruby on board at 2 out when he looked like he might come second or third that day. So that's something to bear in mind. I don't have anything at a massive price. I just think on better ground, would I chance Manila Indo? I might do. Might Jack Kennedy on board. I think Jack would probably be good on this horse. He's a very quiet style. The horse probably needs to be left to his own devices. And I wouldn't really look into the last run. I think that was just we had to get him round safe sort of a run. It was a little bit disappointing. But I think back in a bit of better ground, he's obviously been first and second in 2 Cheltenham Festival runs in the Albert Bartlett, and then second in the RSA. Very unlucky, really, to be second in the RSA last year. I see he's cottoned in, like people have cottoned on to the fact he was maybe a shade big. I think he's around 10-1 now. I might play him each way in the race. I was actually going to go for Native River, but just on better ground, he's just not got the pace, I don't believe. And obviously your two horses in there do have their chances. I'd be, from an album photo camp, I'd be much more wary of Champ than I would be A Plus Tard, personally. I think Champ has the ability to win the Gold Cup. I don't know whether he has the mind, but he's got the ability. I don't believe A Plus Tard has the ability to win a Gold Cup, personally.
If you're looking at something at a bigger price, I don't know where to tell you to look. Being honest, I think Manila Endo, as you said, going on people's, thoughts of that horse at the start of the year. He's actually the same price as what he was now at the start of the year, and he held a lot more claims maybe at the start of the year. Like he has disappointed. It's hard to really make a case for him. Potentially, you're going to laugh at this now, Andrew, but of the ones at the bigger prices, maybe Santini, because he's gonna stay all day. He's had a different campaign this year, shall we say? Ran in the King George. I mean, how could you ever see Santini running in the King? I'm not saying he's going to win the race, but maybe to fill the places at a bigger price, 14-1.
I think you're clutching at straws there, Barry.
You're completely clutching at straws. We're lost in translation to turn up. I'm not sure if he's going to run in the race. If he was to bounce back to some sort of form, he's bleeding.
Barry, you've got to give him up. You've got to give him up. He's lost his marbles. Like, he's out there in the Windsor Avenue Brigade with his marbles gonzo. Like I quite like Lost in Translation. Yes, of course, his peak form would give him a chance, but it would take a very, very brave man to be backing him for the Gold Cup based on what he's done this year.
I'm not going to start digging a hole for myself. At the end of the day, the winners in the first three in the bet, and I can't see anything else at a bigger price getting past the three-pronged attack on the Road to Cheltenham Challenge of Album Photo Champ and A Plus Tard, and hopefully I come out on the right side of it. And now, Andrew, we are going to speak about our selections, but before we do, and we could have left it until the end, but I want you to tell me, of your picks to date, which one are you most confident about? And which one is the key one for you? Which one has to go in for Andrew Blair-White?
Well, I've got two in terms of, I've got wide receiver and Kashari, both at 25-1 for their respective handicap hurdles. And I know these handicap hurdles are extremely tough to back winners of, but if either of them won, that would be very, very satisfactory. Both of them are around 8 or 9-1 for their races now. In terms of one, though, if you
who's the team captain? Who's the team captain, Andrew Blair-White?
I think Ellie May's the captain at 12-1. 12-1's a stonking good bet for a 7-4 chance, and I think actually she's not the worst price at 7-4 in that mare's chase. I don't really like Colreevy around Cheltenham. Shattered Love is what Shattered Love is, and hopefully she's running in the second last race on Friday. She might either cap off a great week or bail me out of trouble. Fingers crossed. Her and wide receiver are the last two races of the week, so I still have live wires come the end of Friday. Even if you're well ahead of me by the end of Friday, Barry, I might hit a late sucker punch.
Yeah, I think we spoke about my travel. I think if the team go in, we're in a nice place we're going to come out on pro. I think if Concertista and Monkfish both go in for me, I can't see how they don't. I really can't see either of them beaten. If the two of them come in for me, we're in a very strong position in terms of covering our costs. If we get another one on the board, we've enough shots at it there. I see you got a message on Twitter from Paul Underwood saying that am I digging a hole across the channel trying to pump water into the UK for a Nerjameen? But Andrew Blair-White, I'm still confident that you're going to have the armbands ready to jump in off the pier at Dunleary, as you promised, if Nerjameen wins the Arkle.
But are you in any way concerned, like genuinely, without bias aside, because you obviously have a love affair for Nerjameen, are you in any way concerned that the ground is going to come up properly good to soft on the Tuesday?
I think good to soft is fine because he wins a point-to-point on good ground. I think it's where does it all come from? Yeah. Willie has said he's a big unit of a horse, and obviously we can see that. But people making a case for him going up to the Marsh. Personally, I don't see it, just because it's good ground or good in the description. And I'll tell you why. Because his jumping is his best asset. I mean, that to me is his best asset. You move him up and trip against Envoy Allen, and
well, you're taking away, like, you'd probably have to restrain him with fences and stuff like that, and that's not really how to get the best out of him. I wasn't saying that as any sort of. I think Energumen's got a massive chance. I've come around to my sins of omission. But I would be a little bit concerned just on better ground with him, just because under rules we haven't seen him do anything on that type of better ground. And to be honest, Barry, if I ran around at that point-to-point he won over in England, I might have had a chance of winning.
If we got, but coming back, I'm gonna play politics here and just pretend selective hearing. We're talking about that double, but again, if I got Album Photo beaten with either of the two, I think I'm in a very, very strong place. And everything else after that is a bonus. And Energumen would obviously pay for the week, but I'm talking about strictly for this competition. So, yeah, but I think if it was to name a team captain, I think, as I said, Concertista at 9-2. I think it's, if we got her in the team and she went and won, I think it'll set us up nicely for a nice week. And that's obviously on the Tuesday. Coming on to our selections to date, not our new selections. We'll hold that off a moment longer. But Andrew, I tell you what, you always go first, so I'm going to jump in now, and I'm going to speak about mine. We're going to go Eldorado Allen was my week one selection. I don't know what happened there. There was a rush of blood to the head. I think I like the odd grey horse. I do have a fascination. I have two in the team. I have Brinkley, of course, later on. But week one, I think Grand Annual is probably, look, he's not going to win an Arkle anyway. Mac Fabulous 12-1, disappointing selection as well. Isn't going to go and doesn't look to be in the best of form either. Appreciated. Now, Andrew, if you're talking about Energumen going to the Marsh, is there any he's only 11s on the exchanges. I'm just saying it. Appreciated to me is a 2.5 miler. Been saying it all year, and I'm not the only one saying it. He's 12-1. I'm not giving up total hope on that. I'm not. I say it every week.
You've got to give up hope. Look at the Ballymore, Gallard de Menil, Bob Bollinger, Brave Man's game. You look at the Supreme, Metier and Ballyadam. This today and yesterday alone, the Devil's Coachman's out, the Real Deal's out. There's nothing left in the Supreme.
Short enough on I'm just saying he's short on the exchanges. That's why I mean, look, Champ 12-1 for the Gold Cup. Oh, I love that selection. That's just lovely. Energumen, any race, again, we've got all angles covered there, but Arkle and wins, and I'll stick to that. Kescon Risk, 25-1. Again, on the exchange, I heard Kevin Blake speaking about the horse, and he was mentioning handicaps was, if they had got another run into the horse, it was going handicap. And again, he's not out of touch on the exchanges. And if you rocked up in the Supreme, he'd be hopeful of a good run. Obviously has to improve an awful lot, but is unexposed and potentially could. Concertista, captain of the team, 9-2. Love this mare. Don't know what well, in fairness, Andrew, if you said she went Champion Hurdle, you were giving her a bit of a chance. I say she has the pace to go for a Champion Hurdle, but it's not obviously where she's going. In Tukas, 25-1 for the Grand Annual. What I don't like about this is I'm bitter has attracted a bit of support here in the last couple of, now obviously different connections, and but in Tukas, off his mark, did he get 143, Andrew, did I see? So he's, that's £5 from the British handicapper from his Irish rating. He has to have a cracking chance, and I love that selection at 25-1. I remember when I rocked up, and I was so bullish, and Andrew was, I think I won you over that day, Andrew, with that selection. Autumn Evening was another 140-1, not going for the Boodles. That was week 9. Ramillies at 14-1 for the Champion Bumper. Again, not out of touch on. Look, it's hard to see that winning the bumper. Royal Kahala 8-1. What's the situation with this, Andrew?
She goes to Cheltenham.
She goes, yeah. I think I saw that from the Winning Ways Syndicate, and has to have a cracking chance. Lovely mare. Look, if you're talking about a good ground festival, would that be potentially maybe a slight concern? She's done a lot of her winning on softer surface. She's a kind of a top heavy filly, but look, she looks a cracking filly. Nice selection. Happy with that. Third time lucky. The Skeletons are in two minds, are they?
I think more than likely they'll probably go down the county hurdle route with him. But,
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me if the Supreme keeps cutting up. It wouldn't surprise me that they just roll the dice, because he might come third or fourth in it.
Yeah, Grand Walk 20-1 for the Carl Cup again. Very happy with that. And again, Andrew, between myself and yourself, Kashari and Grand Raw were well positioned to have a one to hit the frame. It's going to be great, isn't it? I can't wait for it. Brinkley 16-1 for the Pretense. He's in around that on the exchanges. Again, I just needed to pour her in and don't need to pour. I just need the weather forecast to change, because I think, again, this is another horse that might like it on the softer side. Choreograph for the Albert Barton. Oh, look, I love this. I think he's an ideal type for the race. Has had plenty of experience. And 14-1, I think it's a rock solid selection. Again, more solid player in the team here. Goshen, week 16, 4-1 for the champion hurdle. She wears it well, unfortunately, out. Monkfish 3-1 RSA, banker of the festival. Absolute 9-1 for the Cheltenham Gold Cup, are well covered there. Andrew, I tried to make it quick. I couldn't help myself. You go ahead.
Yeah, similar enough. Like, I think we've both got similar enough books in terms of we've got 4 or 5 non-runners, then 2 or 3 with not great chances, and the rest all live. Starting off with Nasalam, 25-1 for the Triumph Hurdle. I think he's still the same price. Won't be winning a Triumph Hurdle. Wide receiver, 25-1 any race. He's 7 or 8-1 for the Martin Pipe. I still think he's got a great chance over mark 136. Shaq Poursois 9-2 for the Champion Chase. Very similar to you on Concertiste. I can't see this horse getting beat. Latest Exhibition 16-1. Doesn't look like he's going to go, which is a real shame. I can see the reasoning, but it's still a shame. Delvino and Dusart, both you can throw them out. Brave Man's Game 16-1 for the Ballymore. Still very sweet on this Brave Man's Game. I think he is going to win the Ballymore, and 16-1 is a good price. Run Wild Fred, 10-1 any race. Looking an absolute sniffer right now, off a mark of 140. I think he could go off very short in the Kim Muir. I think he could go off 3-1, 7-2 on the
day. When you say, I thought you were going to come out with a statement there about, was it Blair-White Senior? What does Blair-White Senior like for Cheltenham this year? Would that be one that's ticked on his fancy, Run Wild Fred?
He doesn't mind that, yeah, but Blair-White Senior is very good at the handicap hurdles, I find. He loves picking out a couple here and there. He was all over Aramax last year in the Boodles. Like, he convinced me to back Aramax, and I didn't fancy him at all. But anyway, he's a shrewd enough operator, as you well know. It came to pass 12-1 for the Fox Hunters. He's 8-1. I think he's got a chance. Aramax, non-runner in the Grand Annual. Don't know what's happened there.
I'm disappointed about that, because it would have been lovely to have the 2 in there, wouldn't it? The JP.
The 2 JPs.
Clearing the last.
Which was the white cap. Real shame. Yeah, real shame. I think there must be something wrong with the horse, because he didn't get any entries at Cheltenham. Ellie May, 12-1 for the Mare's Chase. We discussed that earlier. That's a good selection, I think. Captain
He's
Guinness,
attracting support. Captain Guinness. He's Blue Baron, Andrew.
Yeah, well, it's better ground. Look, he's just seemingly a very unlucky horse. Like, he was brought down in the Supreme. He fell at the Dublin Racing Festival. I don't believe in any way he'd have beaten an Ergamine at the Dublin Racing Festival, but I bet you he'd have finished second. And that form would give him, he'd be shorter than he is if he did finish second. So I think he's got a good each-way chance in the race. Kashari, 25-1 for the Carl Cup, currently 8 or 9-1. As you said, I'd be really disappointed between Kashari and Graham Waugh if we weren't bang there.
I'm holding out, Andrew Blair-White, for favouritism. I'm just about holding out on the exchanges. 9.2, Grand Raw, Kashari 10.
Yeah, just about. They could well go off even shorter than that, the 2 of them as well. Black Tears, 33-1 for the Mare's Hurdle. She's into around 14-1. I think she'll get shorter as well. I think that wasn't a bad each-way play behind the favourite. Jas, less said the better, unfortunately, a non-runner in the cross-country. He was backed. I put him up at 17-2. He's backed into as short as 4-1 before being a non-runner. Seems all a bit fishy, but less said, the better. And Glens of Antrim at 16-1 for the Mares Novices Hurdle last week. I think she's got actually a very good chance. The better ground, better chance for her. And my 2-point Wildcards, Honeysuckle 3-1 for the Mares Hurdle. I wish it was for the Champion Hurdle. So that's unfortunately not a runner. Time Hill at 5-1 for the Stayers. Still very confident with that. And Alboom Photo at 3-1 for the Gold Cup. Hopefully repelling your charge.
I don't know what it is about this Glens of Antrim. I just have a feeling she's going to be punted off the absolute boards.
Yeah,
there's just something about her. I thought I was looking at her potentially for a handicap. I was on the verge of putting her up for the Martin Pipe. I've no problem saying it. And I had to hold myself. We didn't have enough evidence. She hadn't even won a race at the time. She still hasn't won a race, to my knowledge, of her hurdles.
Nope.
Nope. So, but
she is the definition. If you looked up wise guy's horse in the dictionary, Glens of Antrim is there, because everyone's just the kind of the shrewd angle into the Mares Novices Hurdle. Look, I think she's got a chance, but I do agree with you. I think she could easily be 5 or 6-1 at the off.
Yeah, so the JP Mares or the JP Fillies, Andrew Blair-White, will have eyes on them. Now, you're on a roll. We might as well let you go there. Week 17 selection. Drum roll.
Yeah, I'm in search of points. I'm in search of something to just boost the coffers. And it looks like Friday is going to be a huge day for me, because I'm going to be putting in a horse that I actually have backed at much bigger prices. But Statler in the Albert Bartlett at 5-1. I think 5-1 is not a bad price. If Mullins has had a good week, he'll be 3-1 come the off time, I believe. I think he's just got an awful lot going for me. He ran a lovely race in the Nathaniel Lacey when he was third behind Gallard to Manil. He really put it up to him that day. I think he'll confirm form with the likes of Fakira and, the Ashdale Bobs, Holy Macaponis of the world. He beat Glens of Antrim at Christmas time. I think that's not bad form either. I do quite like that Tory graph that you've put up. Just not sure, just class-wise. He obviously hasn't been tested in proper grade 1 level. Sattler maybe has that just edge on him, a little bit more experienced. And I'm hoping if they ride him with a little bit more restraint than they did in the Nathaniel Lacey, he could certainly be picking up the goods. And I think 5-1, I'm willing to put him in the team. I think he's the most likely winner of the Bartlett, and hopefully will be boosting the points tally come Friday.
You're like, you're just waiting to be chinned, aren't you? You were absolutely flying it, and now you're coming in with conservative picks. But if you're allowed black tears, and you're allowed to throw away points on Captain Guinness in the Arkle, then my next selection, look, I've mentioned him a couple of times now. It's a Stayers Hurdle. I'm putting him in the team, Andrew Blair-White. I think he's going to go for the race, and there's been a couple of shrewdies as well as put him up as a big each-way selection for the race. Now, this is obviously it's a 1-point win because that's for the sake of the competition, but I'm going for it. I'm going for my second selection in the Stayers Hurdle, and I'm going for vindication in the Stayers Hurdle. I'm not looking at your face, Andrew Blair-White, because I actually have the racing post in front of me, so the zoom isn't on screen, so I can't see your face. But all I can tell you is he's unbeaten over hurdles. He's only an 8-year-old. He's only had 12 career starts. I think he could be potentially still unexposed over hurdles. And, obviously he looks every inch a chaser. They sent him chasing, ran a cracker last year off a massive weight in the Ultima. Went off favourite this year for the Ladbroke, and look, he picked up a bit of a knock afterwards. It wasn't too serious. I think it was a sore joint, to my knowledge. I think Kim Bailey, with the hope was to get him back out over fences and, potentially run him in a Gold Cup. He's only an 8-year-old. He didn't get that run into him. So it looks like he is going to go for the Stayers Hurdle. Now, it hasn't been absolutely confirmed yet. It is non-runner, no bet, obviously, for the sake of this. But yeah, we're getting him in the team at 20-1. I think he's just too big a price. He's only had 3 runs over hurdles. One of those, he actually beat Champ. So we know he's of high class. He didn't run an open company over hurdles yet, so he's a mark of 149. So he's open to any amount of improvement still over hurdles. He's ridden 160 over fences. So I just think he might be potentially underestimated. If he lines up in here, I can't see him going off 20-1 on the day. I could see him attracting support. And I think Kim Bailey's horses, in fairness, they started off well, but I think he might have a good festival, Andrew, because he obviously has Happy Go Lucky, which I was looking at him in the Ultima actually. He has options. Imperial Aura, I think, has a very good chance in the Ryanair. And I think this horse might go well at a big price. I'm putting him in there. As I said, if you're allowed Black Tears, I'm allowed this horse. And it's hard to, I did make a case in this race that, look, it does look competitive. Tyne Hill, the good ground. Paisley Park, has been a revelation again this season. But again, the mileage, this horse, he's only had 12 runs. And my worry with Tyne Hill, and I know you always talk about Tyne Hill being one of your best fancies of the whole festival, he was a touch keen. Would you agree with that? He was a touch keen the last time. I would worry. This horse will drop. This horse will drop his head. He'll lob away. He'll stay. In my opinion, Vindication. I said it last year. If you actually look back on Twitter, search on Twitter, Vindication Stayers Hurdle. I actually said it at the end of the Cheltenham Festival last year. I did say that this horse, in my opinion, if he was mine, I would put him back over hers. I just don't think I don't think he gains lengths at fences. I think he actually loses ground at fences. And I think that was his downfall last year in the Ultima. He was clearly the class horse in the race, carried a huge weight, and he was banged there again, turning in and over the second last and the last, but just obviously faded out of it. I just think that's where he lost the race, is jumping. But I think back over hurdles, as I said, he's unbeaten still over hurdles. So I just think 20-1 is quite a big price. And what's your thoughts on that, Andrew? Would you be completely against that, or?
Look, you can't put off anyone from backing anything at 20-1. I would think he has a bit to find. Just as a little thing of mine, I don't really like horses that have come back from fences, going back straight hurdling. It just happened with, City Island last year. Some people quite liked for the Stayers Hurdle, and then he just ran stink. I get the point. I agree. I quite like Vindication. I think he's a really classy horse. I certainly, I think you put him up last year as a big, long outside chance for the Gold Cup. And to be honest, I wouldn't have been that far against you with that. I do think he's a really likeable horse. So if he does replicate his chase form over hurdles, he wouldn't be without a chance. But probably not the type of horse I'd be backing for the race, but I wouldn't put you off at it.
Obviously, he has a lot to find. I just think he's a huge engine and potentially could be unexposed back over hurdles. That really concludes it, Andrew. That concludes our second last episode of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge. Really enjoyed it, and we've one more week to go, and the books are, as I said, they're looking a lot more solid. I'm confident that both of us can get out alive at the very least.
Yeah, hopefully so. Look, if we both wash our face during the week, it would be great. As you said, there's a couple for both of us that are kind of more the bankers, and then a couple after that might be nice little Brucey bonuses. If we get if any of these 25-1ers, the wide receivers, the Antukases, Kasharis, Grand Walls, if any of them go in, we're absolutely laughing. So hopefully between the two of us, we can have a decent enough week and back a few winners in the process.
Yeah, and like yourselves in this episode, for our viewers and everyone who has got involved, do let us know not just your selection for week 17, but your most confident selection to date. Put it down below. Do please give the video a like if you enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel. We're nearly there. We're nearly actually at 1,000 subscribers, so we're going well on the channel. Really enjoyed this series. And Andrew, we'll be back on Thursday for our Cheltenham preview night. And more to follow on that. It will be announced over the next 24 hours. There's a lot going on, but we've got a nice night in store, and there'll be 6 of us there. And more to be announced. Some nice guests as well. So we'll announce that, and we hope to see everyone. I suppose it's down below. We'll stick the link in when the videos are uploaded. And it's exciting times, Andrew. And just a couple of days left till the Cheltenham Festival, and just trying to count the days until you're jumping off the pier when Energy wins the Arkle.
Could be a while, Barry. Could be a while. I'll be flying my Donnelly's scarf, and hopefully Captain Guinness will imagine if Energy means clear after the last, and Captain Guinness comes and nails them on the line.
Actually, we'd have a laugh about it if nothing else, but that won't happen. Don't worry about that. Andrew Blair-White, we'll see you next Monday. We'll see you Thursday. We'll see you Monday, and tell Blair-White Senior was asking for him.
Cheers, Barry.